Hi.
All right. Okay, so yeah, just starting off. You see our social media handles are listed here. If you're not following us already, please do. Not only we want you as a follower, but a lot of important information gets shared through our social media channels in addition to what you might receive through email. But a good one to follow actually and to explore a little bit is our YouTube because there's a lot of videos that are shared that help give you a good visual sense of what to expect on the rally day by day. And so right now things might just be kind of a cloudy vision of what each day is going to be. And then there's a lot of videos on our YouTube to help you make a bit more sense of what that's going to look like. All right. Next. Oh, okay. And then so we'll go through a little bit of the history of the bike rally, as well as the age service organizations that we are supporting. There's four of them. We'll touch a little bit on our fundraising minimums, and tips and tricks of how you can reach that minimum. We'll go through a bit of a day by day of what you can expect, and then also talk a bit about packing because I know sometimes that can cause a little bit of anxiety with some people, especially if you're not used to camping or not used to packing something for 6+ days of an event. So to start, the history of the bike rally began in 1999. There were two guys named David Linton and Danny Nashman who knew that the Toronto People with AIDS Foundation was suffering, financially, and they wanted to find a way to help support the organization and raise money and also create a better sense of community within the organization. So they decided to run with this idea of having a bike ride from Toronto to Montreal over 6 days. And in his first year, there were 24 cyclists and a handful of support people to help us come along the way. And they were able to raise roughly about $41,000, which at that time, even today, is a lot of money, but especially at that time, it was quite remarkable. And what's very cool is that a lot of the route that we still take today and the public campgrounds that we visit are still from that route from 1999. So we're following in the footsteps of David and Danny, so to speak. Um, and even Danny Nashman, he still rides with us most years. You might have a chance to meet him. And then David Linton unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but we do have a training ride that is in his name to commemorate him. And so now, fast forward to 2026, we have, right now, I think we have about 350 riders registered, which is remarkable. It's turning out to be the biggest year we've ever had. And so we're also expecting to raise a lot more money than we ever have before. So cumulatively, since 1999, we've raised over $30 million. And last year alone, we raised, I think it was just under 1.7 million was the total at the end. So this year, with the influx of riders, also with a lot of new participants coming from the United States, which we have here tonight, we are looking to raise approximately $1.8 million. That's our goal. And we're on track because as of right now, this is the most money we've ever made, like at this point in time leading up to the rally. So really exciting. Very, very good news. And so who do we ride for? So Toronto People with AIDS Foundation, obviously located in Toronto, we're an AIDS service organization that helps people living with HIV. So all these organizations have a variety of services that help support people living with HIV. And so Trellis in Kingston is very similar, as well as AIDS Community Care in Montreal. And then Bruce House is located in Ottawa. So it makes sense because we travel, Kingston is the kind of the halfway point from Toronto to Montreal. And then Montreal, of course, that's where we arrive if you're doing the 6 days. And then Bruce House, which is very, close enough to Ottawa. We don't pass directly through Ottawa, but we are close enough. And we have quite a large contingency of riders that have grown over the years from the Ottawa area, and they've kind of become having their own cycling group and training ride and organize their own travel to Toronto before the ride. So it's great how that community kind of just blossoms on its own. Fundraising. So it's never too early to start. So whether or not you just registered or if you've been registered for a while and haven't started, now is a better time than ever. We like to just reiterate that there is a fundraising minimum to join us on the ride. And if it's your first year, it's $1,950 Canadian. And so that's for anyone who is riding for the 6 day or the 3 day ride, which is either from Toronto to Kingston or Kingston to Montreal. And then if you do happen to be doing the one ride from Toronto to Port Hope, the amount is reduced to $950. And so we have these amounts set as the minimum, really because that's approximately what it costs our organizations to bring you on the ride with us. So, the food and the paramedics and the permits and the lodging that happens all along the way. We hope that you can raise that minimum so that it offsets the cost. But we also obviously encourage you to raise more so that more funds can go directly towards the aid service organizations. And so we aim to have that amount raised by June 30th. However, what happens during that time is if you haven't raised your minimum by June 30th, we just want to know whether or not you are still going to join us on the ride. If you have clearly been trying and have been fundraising and have raised money, we'll just help you and, be able to support you, either your team captains or your team itself, to get you to that minimum. However, if there's anyone that hasn't raised much at all or isn't responding to any emails or phone calls, we might assume that you're no longer going to be doing the ride. But pretty much we're here to support you the whole way through. So if you're struggling, there's a lot of ways that your team can get behind you to help raise money together. So you're not alone. There's a lot of support from every direction. And there's actually fundraising 101 sessions, similar to this, but with more specific targeted fundraising ideas happening next week, I think. This month for sure. It's in our calendar. And then this just has some other ideas that you can help encourage people to give to you. You have a fundraising page on our giving platform that is very customizable. So not only can you write a personal message of your why, what brought you to the rally, but also include pictures and videos, and all of your training is good things that people like to hear about and help incentivize them to give to you. There's also on our website a lot of resources and graphics that help identify what a certain amount of donation will provide. So $100 provides meals for X amount of people, and so forth. So that is a nice way to ask people to give kind of like with a specific intention, instead of just kind of having a blanket ask of please give anything you can. There's certain types of soft emotional manipulation that you can do to get people to support the cause. Because remember, you're not asking for money yourself. That was one thing that I kind of had to curb my thought process around in my first year was, I hate asking for my own money back when it's owed to me. So I had not fundraised before and I felt kind of uncomfortable asking for money, but reminding myself that it's not going to me. It's going to a lot more people who need it. And then here, we'll get into a bit of the details of the experience itself. Some pictures on the right just give you a sense of what the bins look like that you're going to be allotted. We'll touch a bit more on that when we get to the packing slides, but then also, what a lunch typically looks like, and then what a camping situation looks like as well. So each day has a different distance but relatively they kind of run the same. We're usually out on the road at 8 a.m. in the morning. And so breakfast begins at around 6 a.m. So people are typically up 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And you'll get a rhythm, especially as the days go by, of what you like to do as soon as you wake up, especially if you're not used to getting up that early. Some people like to have breakfast right away and then go back to their tent and pack everything up. Some people want to pack everything up as soon as they get out of bed. That rhythm comes with practice. But once we leave at 8 a.m., we all leave together. You might ride roughly for about 2.5 to 3 hours, depending on your speed. And then you're going to find a brake stop. And that brake stop is really just a truck with a lot of snacks and a lot of water and electrolytes and some shade and a bathroom, just to kind of recharge and refuel yourself as you carry on forward towards lunch. So then you might have another about 2.5, 3 hours before you hit lunch. And there it's always a kind of buffet style table setup, and you can eat as much as you'd like, and you can stay at the lunch or any of the breaks as long as you'd like as well. Typically, some people do like to move kind of quickly so that their body doesn't think that it's shutting down and ready to rest. It's still go, go, go time, because you got to get back on your bike again and finish the other half of the day. So you'll have another break before you hit the camp. And then when you get to the camp, you'll have a bit of time to just chill out a bit, have a bit of social time with people, get your tent set up before dinner begins. And dinner is always outside underneath a large dining tent, usually with picnic tables underneath. And right now, anyone can just go to dinner at any time they'd like. But we are trying to figure out logistically, now that we have a lot more riders than we ever have before, about staggered dinner times. So that hasn't been announced yet and hasn't been decided yet, but just letting you know there might be an early dinner and a late dinner. But either way, you're going to get fed. You're going to have 3 square meals a day, and there's really good food on the rally, including for anyone that has any dietary restrictions. On our website right now, actually, under the participants drop down, there is the menu from last year, which is pretty much going to be the same again for this year. So you can get a sense of what we'll be providing. And then after dinner, there's always an event of some kind in the evening. We'll get into detail about those afterwards. And then pretty much once it gets dark at 10 p.m. is when we call for quiet time. So we just want everyone's volume to go down, because a lot of people have a big day ahead of them afterwards and have to get on the road all over again. So yeah, we ask for quiet time. We ask for music to be shut off, and to avoid unnecessary slamming of the porta potty doors, because that is a thing that wakes people up. This is. And then just going into a little bit more detail, I won't spend too much time here. These are the distances that we had in 2025 for each day. They are roughly the same. There might be a few kilometers here and there that are different, but we typically take the same route every year. And so on day one, we of course leave from Toronto, Corktown Common in the Distillery District area of Toronto. So everyone wears the same day one official bike jersey that you're going to get the day before we ride. So you don't have it yet. You're not going to get it until the packing day, the day before you ride. And so everyone is wearing the same thing, and it's just a great way to mark our presence on the road. And then once you arrive in camp, there are some people who are only joining us for one day, and they get bused back to Toronto that night. So after dinner, we have a bit of a celebration for them as we send them off. And then there's also a few awards and people that are recognized that night as well. So no real loud, boisterous entertainment on day one. Day two is our longest day. And so a lot of teams will get together and decide on a team jersey design that you'll purchase directly through your team. And a lot of them will decide to wear that on day two, and maybe even other days of the ride as well. And then in the evening is kind of like a talent show, but we call it a variety show. So no need to be good at anything you do, just be a general enthusiast in what it is you bring to the microphone. It's always encouraged. And then after that long day, day 3 is our shortest day. So it's a great day to celebrate because not only are we going to approach our halfway point at the end of that day, it's also Dress in Red Day. So to symbolize the red ribbon on the road, everyone will dress in red in some outfit or another. And it's just a very powerful moment, actually, when you're on your bike, but also when you're in the car passing by all of our cyclists, just to see this continuous red ribbon riding for the cause. And so there's only one break before the lunch, and the lunch happens at the Queen's University in Kingston. So it's a typical university dining hall sort of food court situation. And in this night, we get to sleep in the residences at the university as well. So you'll have air conditioning and a proper shower and a chance to do laundry, which are all wonderful things that you might feel like you desperately need after your third day on the road. Each residence in Queen's University is your own private room. You'll have your own bed, your own room, but there's one other room that shares the bathroom. So that's kind of the adjoining situation. There's 2 rooms with a connecting bathroom. And if you prefer to specify who you share that bathroom situation with, you can do that on your bike rally profile. Just make sure you both identify each other so that we know that it's consensual. But then this night is very fun to explore Kingston. Kingston is a very old, historic, beautiful town. So we go out typically with teams, but you are free to do whatever you'd like once you get in Kingston and have a dinner together. So your team captains will get a sense of who wants to join for the dinner and where you want to go and the timing and all that. But typically teams will go together, but there's no pressure. And then afterwards, the city of Kingston does this incredible job at organizing this drag in the park event. And it's right downtown Kingston. Tourism Kingston gets the word out, and a lot of people from the city come to support us and support this event. And it kind of becomes a secondary pride night in the city just because of this influx of people that have come into town for that night. So it's a really fun evening. Fundraising happens for Trellis Community Care there. And then if you choose to extend the night even further, there's a bar across the street that people like to carry on drinking at. But again, no pressure to do any of that. I like to go straight to bed that night myself. And then the 4th day, so we're waking up in Kingston, we're waking up in the residence. We have a morning breakfast where we identify all of the top fundraisers of the year. So a top fundraiser is anyone who's raised $6,500 or more, and they get a special custom jersey for them, and they get recognized at breakfast. And we also give away a few other awards and recognitions during that breakfast as well. And it's also decorate your helmet day. So if you have some bling or fun, safe things you want to attach to your helmet for that day, you're encouraged to do so. We like to have fun on the ride as much as we can. As long as it doesn't fly off and distract anybody, you're good. And in the evening, once you arrive to camp, we have our candlelight ceremony, which is a very powerful evening, a very striking, visual event as well, because it's where we really bring it back to why we are on this ride. And for some people who have lost family or friends or lovers or anyone at all who they know to HIV, is a great way for them to share their story. So what we do is we gather on to the beach at that campsite. We all have candles that we light, and it's kind of a open mic situation where people can share their why or what brings them to the ride year after year. So it's a great way to just now that we've hit the halfway point and plus to remind us of what we're
Yeah,
all
so
here for.
for day four, yeah, for the open mic, you do have to register in advance. Not register, just let us know that you want to speak. Uh, because like there's so many people, so we just that is limited time in the evening. But yeah, if you want to say like share your story, just let us send us an email or let your captain know, like let someone know, and it will happen. Look forward to hear from you.
Yeah, thanks, Abby. And that's the same for the talent night and karaoke that comes later. If you want to participate in any of these evening events, the sign up form will be circulated through social media, through email, through your captains. So we like to get a sense of numbers for each evening. And then on day 5 in that morning, so we like to allow anyone who is HIV positive to self identify if they choose. And if they do, we offer a pause jersey. So it's a red jersey that they can pick up the morning of or even the evening before. And it's just another way for people to feel, a sense of pride about their status. But what we also do, and we're very cautious of, is recognizing that not everybody is open or out about their status to the world or to anybody that they choose not to be. So we remind people throughout that day, leading up to that day, to ask for explicit consent if you're taking any pictures of someone wearing a pause jersey, and also be very cautious about anyone who might be in the background of a photo before you share it on your social media. So we just like to remind people of that because yeah, some people don't choose to share that information widely, and they don't have to. And in the evening, we have our karaoke. So day 5, just to remind you, is the last camp night. So it's your last night together in the evening, and better way to celebrate than having karaoke together. So again, you can sign up in advance for that, and that always happens after dinner time. It's a great way to do it as a team or do it with the group of friends that you have, or just to do it yourself. It's really fun. And then day 6, I'm already blowing through everything. It's the last day. Easier said than done. We are riding into Montreal. So in the morning, we have a bit of an extended morning. We still like to try to hit the road shortly after 8 a.m., but our morning announcements and presentations run a little bit longer, just so we have some time to reflect and celebrate of what we're about to achieve. And so we have this really great moment where we join each other in this big, large circle in this field that is on the campsite. And we just, yeah, have some like powerful speeches and also have a few recognitions that happen that morning as well. And then shortly after we leave, you do cross the Quebec provincial border. So a lot of us, and pretty much everyone, pulls off onto the side of the road. We have like a safe spot that we do so. So you can take an official photo of you crossing the border and share that as widely as you like. Anything that you share throughout the ride does help encourage donations throughout the whole experience. So yes, of course, we need you to hit your fundraising minimum before June 30th, like I said. But while you're doing the actual ride itself, there's a lot of people that are reminded to give as you share on social, or more encouraged to give again because they see with their own eyes exactly what you're doing. So just little donation pushes coming from me, and I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say that. Uh, and then, yeah, once we arrive in, I guess, actually, before we arrive, we like to head into Montreal together as like a continuous group of people. So probably about, I don't know, maybe 5-10 kilometers before the arrival point, we have this rendezvous moment. So everybody will get together in this one spot. And then once everybody is there together, we ride slow single file to into Montreal downtown into the arrival park. So again, it's just another one of those very powerful moments of us all being together. And at the arrival celebration, it is outdoors, but it does have this park has a large indoor facility if it does happen to be rainy or bad weather. So we don't have to be outside in the rain if that's the case, but that will not be the case. There won't be any rain on the last day. Um, and then so we will officially announce how much money we have raised during that celebration. We will announce the next year's co-captains, and then we also reveal the next year's bike rally jerseys as well. And then you're welcome to stick around as long as you'd like to have a drink or connect with your friends. And then you need to gather all of your belongings, all of your camping equipment and your clothes, and make your way to your accommodations in Montreal. And we'll speak a little bit more about that after. But that's kind of how the celebration ends. We're not taking care of your stuff anymore after you arrived in Montreal. You got to grab it and go to where you're staying. And then typically people will have a dinner either with their teams or they just nap right through and then go to the arrival party, which will announce where that's happening afterwards. It's just usually at a bar that we rent out and then have it for ourselves. Oh, yes, packing. I'm gonna take a sip of water. So what we do is the day before departure, so Saturday, August 1st, is when you need to go to this specific place in Toronto. It's a school, elementary school parking lot, and it's right downtown. If you're familiar, it's near Sherbourne and Bloor. And that picture on the right is pretty much what it looks like. There's a bunch of these large cargo vans and a bunch of Rubbermaid bins, and you're going to be given two bins, and that's where you need to put all of your stuff in for the week. And the dimensions are listed here. In your head, you might start feeling like, how is everything I need to bring going to fit? Really, 9 times out of 10 for everybody, it fits. Even more than 9 times out of 10. People, there's your stuff fits in here. I have done the rally with a 6-person tent. It fits into the bins. However, we're not going to leave your stuff on the side of the road if it doesn't fit. So every truck, and this is why it pays to come to one of these info sessions, because you get a little bit of secret tips along the way, direct from me to you, is that each truck has an oversized bin. So please don't rely on this oversized bin, but it's for these emergency situations where if someone just cannot fit everything they need into their two allotted bins, we can put it into these oversized bins. And usually people's camping chairs go into this bin because those are usually longer than what the Rubbermaid bins are. But you're likely going to be fine with what you're given, but if there's an emergency, we got you as well. There is a packing list that is very comprehensive and very long, but also very worthwhile taking a read of because it just gives you a sense of everything that you do need to prepare and pack before you arrive to this day. So that is available on our site right now under participants. There is a whole handbook that it's a part of, but that is worth reading, but it's also quite long and comprehensive. So maybe for now you just skip to the packing list, but up to you. And then a lot of tips you're going to be given from people that you meet, from past riders, from your captains, maybe from me right now. So it's great to organize yourself as best you can. So you don't have to think about what you're wearing each day on the ride, each evening, each morning at breakfast. So a lot of people you'll hear like to pack in large Ziploc bags and then they label those bags as day one, day two, or instead they'll label a Ziploc bag as socks and underwear or evening wear, whatever you want it to be, is great. And it also keeps your stuff ziplocked and waterproof. So these bins, although they are more or less water resistant, there are some holes in them where the hinges meet the lids. You can kind of see on this picture. So there are some moments where your bins might be out of the trucks And if it's pouring rain, they're going to be in the rain. So people will pack their stuff in waterproof bags to avoid any of their bedding or their clothes getting wet. And just to get a bit more in detail about that, and the bins being outside potentially in the rain, it's what happens is those large trucks arrive at camp before you do as a rider, and all of those bins get loaded off by a team of rustlers, and so they take everything off probably 2 hours before you're likely to arrive. So that's why I mean when your bins could potentially be out in the rain. But again, no rain. But either way, if you do have that happen and you don't pack in Ziploc bags like I haven't before, your stuff's not going to get drenched. It might just get a little bit wet. Just want to be, um, I don't know, honest about that. And yeah, just a reminder again of what you should not pack on packing day, because you have to ride your bike the next morning. So just to get you through, you're going to bring everything you need to packing day, put everything in those bins, and you're not going to see those bins until the end of the first day. So if you want sunscreen for day one, or your contact lenses, your helmet, anything that you want on your bike or on yourself, don't pack that. You're going to take that home with you, because on day one departure, you need to ride your bike or get your bike there ready to go. You're not going to have access to the bins. You'll be reminded of that over and over again from the friends and the team captains that you have. And then here, I won't go through in detail of this at all, but these are just all the different crews that we have that make this event possible. So the list on the left are the crews that you're going to see quite visibly on the ride itself. The rustlers move all those Rubbermaid bins off and on the trucks. The road support are there marking the route every day with directional arrows, so you're not going to get lost. They also provide road support for anyone if your bike breaks or you need support in any way at all. You can access them through a phone call away. Health and wellness. We have chiropractors and massage therapists that come from the Canadian Memorial Chiropractic College. They come with us every year, and you get 3 treatments of this. So it's very great to take care of your body. We also have sort of a mental health support circle as well, because the bike rally, for some people especially, can be unlike anything they've ever done. It can be overwhelming with the amount of social interactions you're having, but also the physical exertion. It can be a lot. So we like to make space for that, safe space. Food and nutrition team you're going to see, and then participant engagement are the ones who are really hosting and encouraging people to take part in the evening events. And then everyone on the right-hand side here, which is a lot of people that do a lot of work more or less behind the scenes, are making things happen before the rally, during the rally, and afterwards. It's kind of a 12-month job of volunteering. These 2 gentlemen here, Seamus Butterly and Steve Sananen, are your co-chairs for 2026. And so I like to give a big picture and slide moment to them, just so you can see their face if you haven't met them yet and recognize them, because if you see them in person, they are both very friendly and want to meet you, and honestly would love for you to introduce yourself, especially if you're a first-year rider. Seamus on the left is finishing his 2nd year of his 2-year term, and then Steve is joining us this year for his 1st year. Both have been a member of our steering committees in different portfolio ownerships and for a number of years. So they're very great to have with us, and very knowledgeable and friendly and encouraging. Yes, so I know there's a few people from out of town, either far away from the California area or even from just outside of the greater Toronto area. Uh, you have a bit of a different itinerary when it comes to leading up to getting to Toronto and getting home from Montreal than the majority of others who are from the Toronto or Montreal area. So we've created a bit of a resource guide, and you might have received this already through an email if you signed up in the past few weeks. But if you're new to registering for the rally, you might not have seen this yet. But you can go to our website. The navigation is down at the bottom, and there's just some things that you might want to read and consider about in regards to where you're going to stay in Toronto before we leave, what recommended time we say you should arrive by, because you have to pack all your stuff the day before. If you're traveling with your bike, how are you getting your bike to Toronto? Are you going to be returning back home from Montreal or Toronto? We've done quite an extensive thought process and map of all the different itineraries that people are going to take. And so we got this. We're supporting you. We only have a couple hundred riders, unlike the folks on this call who have done the AIDS life cycle that has thousands. So we are able to hold your hands a little bit. You know, we're there to support you and put you in the right direction and give you the resources. So this is what one of those resources looks like. But also, if you need a specific question answered, we're here to help you and provide that assistance, because you're doing a lot for us, for the AIDS service organization. So we want to do a lot for you too, to make the experience great and smooth. Woof. Questions?
Did you say woof? Well, yeah,
I,
woof.
I did. I meant to say oof, but I said woof.
Hi.
And go ahead.
Oh, hi. Oh,
Yeah, so you can either chime in with questions,
I have a quick.
or
I have
put your emoji hand up, whatever you'd like.
I have one other question. Well, I'm glad we can get our own tent. That's big boost. So like if I haven't booked my return ticket yet, and I'm wondering in Montreal, just logistically, how do you get your bike box and luggage? Is there like a Cycle Solutions or a preferred bike shop that like I can make an appointment with if I wanted to fly back from Montreal to get my bike boxed, and or is it easier to just go back to Toronto? I plan to stay through Monday, you know, and I know about the bus, but I'm just wondering like how I get all that stuff to a bike shop and where are I don't even know what logistically how the city works.
Yeah, support in Montreal will be there for you. Those logistics we're still figuring out, because this is the first year we've had the biggest influx of riders who need this service. Usually it's a small handful of people that are going back home from Montreal. So it's either going to look like directly in the arrival park outside will be the bike mechanics with their trucks doing the breakdown of your bike and the packing of it back into its case. Or we're going to have a nearby bicycle store, and in which case we would set up a either a remote location for them to come or appointments. But we are going to need you to get the bike broken down ASAP, because a lot of hotels don't allow bikes into the rooms. Airbnbs typically will. So you'll need to have the bike breakdown. So that's like on our radar. It's very much on the top of our radar, and it will be communicated exactly how that works out. But if you do end up going back to Toronto, your bike is put onto a bus or not, or a truck, and then it's picked up a few days afterwards.
Will the hotels not take a bike in a box, or just an
Yes.
exposed
Yeah,
bike?
they will. Yeah. So
Oh,
they'll take a bike in a box, but not a bike assembled. Yeah.
And then Peter, did we mention outdoor training?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I can just say like outdoor training is beginning this week. We have our first ride on Saturday. So just check the bikeRally.org/calendar, and everything is listed there, the route and everything. If you are already on a team, your captains will know all the info. But yeah, if you are in Toronto, I will be on the Sunday ride, so I'll see you there next Sunday, Sunday, April 19th. Uh, but yeah, outdoor season begins. Uh, Almost summer, so we don't get spring in Toronto. So, any more questions?
Just looking at the chat here, but Abby, thank you. Looks like you got it.
I'm waiting for someone to say something. Matt has a question, yes?
Yeah, just a question. So do you pack everything in the bins the day before?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Okay, great.
Yeah, so you go to a place like we generally do it in a school location at Isabella Street. Like you'll get the location, but we all go there, take your bins and pack everything in the bin, and then give it to the people, and they'll load that in the truck, and then you'll get your stuff on at the end of day one. So everything on that you'll need on your cycle on day one, your clothes, your water bottles, do not pack those, which Peter already mentioned, but everything else you'll get at the end of day one.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anything else? Sounds like no questions. Do you guys want to do a picture? I usually do a picture. It's not even fitting though. It's too many people on one screen.
I
So yeah,
I
Carol has
do
a question.
have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I do have a question. I'm going to be road crew. And I'm just kind of wondering, like you've got 350 riders and everybody sets off at approximately the same time. So do you have like a way of staggering people, or do people just go, or just kind of curious about how that works?
Yeah, we don't do an official staggered start of any kind. We kind of each morning before we head out, there'll be some short announcements, and then we say, and and you're off. And so people do kind of slowly trickle out of the campsite, but each campsite typically has like maybe I don't know 400 meters of pathway that you're riding very slow on before you get onto the road. And then the road itself is usually a bit of a rural side road because they're campsites. So there might be a bit of congestion as soon as you get onto that road, but it's never been, in my experience, something that feels dangerous. We also have our crew vehicles on the road at that time, so that helps prevent any public driver coming and potentially driving too close to us or acting dangerous. We're also good at reminding people to ride single file as much as possible so we're not taking up a whole lane of traffic. And there also is a pretty wide shoulder throughout the whole rally, but specifically coming out of the campsites. So I understand like the concern about congestion, but it
Yeah, no, I was
relieves.
just more curious about, because when you have a group of people riding, there's the people that go ahead, the people that stay in the middle, and the people that are at the end. But I was just wondering how you start people in the morning, but it sounds like you just kind of go and
Yeah, people usually like some people are more relaxed, and some people want to stay at front of the line. Like I'm one of the slower ones. I usually just stay behind and let people leave. But yeah, it's just like in that large group, you'll have the people with different mindsets. Some people like even like uh, yeah, want to like stay in the front when they leave. Um, but yeah, it's just never been a problem, as Peter said. But yeah,
yeah, okay.
we'll see with the larger group what happens this year, but hopefully everything will go smoothly. So
Are you are riders encouraged to ride with their teams when they start out then, or
with
just
whoever you
do
want.
whatever you want?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I can, because I don't see questions, but I'll just touch shortly about teams. Specifically, you brought up do people ride with their teams. So you're not, you're encouraged to participate with your team, but there's not anything you're forced to do at all. So during the ride itself, you might find yourself camping with your team because if you have someone on your team who has done the rally before and maybe they're a fast rider, they might be very generous and start to bring their team's bins to a specific spot on the campsite. So if you arrive, let's say, a bit later into camp and your bins aren't there, someone has graciously moved your heavy bins for you. And so you can figure this out with your team. Like, this is something that happens regularly, so it will be brought up within team discussions. So that's kind of where on the rally you do some like team joint things. Riding on the road, you can choose to ride alone or with whoever you want. Leading up to the rally itself, there'll be some team social events, and that's really just a way for people to get to know each other. And then in Kingston, people will typically have a team dinner, but again, there's no pressure with that. It's a bit different than some other rides that have different team setups.
Perfect. Thank you.
Michael?
I think
Then
I'm
Michael
more
or Michelle?
anxious
Sorry.
yeah,
Say-
sorry. I think I'm more anxious about camping than biking. Um, so there is the expo on Sunday in Toronto. How will I know everything I need to know for a tent and, not breaking my back on, like, I have no clue where to get this stuff. And I know you guys lend some, but I really want to make sure I stay dry. So
Will you be at the expo?
what's that?
Will you be at the expo? Are you coming
Yeah,
to the expo?
that's what I'm saying. So will I know everything I need to know?
Yes, there would be a camp, like a setup of camping there. A person who will tell you everything. But yeah, there would be other resources as well. So when you arrive at the expo, you can ask that question to anyone, and they'll direct you to the right spot, and you will get your answers on the expo in person.
Okay, so they'll tell me where to buy this or where I can buy all that stuff.
Either or, yeah. If you need stuff from the rally, they can help you get signed up, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
or point you in the right direction if you need to buy, if you prefer buying. Yeah.
Yeah, well, just make sure I stay dry.
Have you camped before, Michelle?
Once as a teenager, and I had a really bad experience with a leaky tent and a rainstorm.
Right.
So I am terrified
Mhm.
of getting rained on
Yeah.
and wet.
Like,
So,
yeah, maybe like tents are quite waterproof these days. There was a storm a few years ago. I stayed dry in my tent, you know.
right.
Of course, the more expensive tent you get, the better quality it will be,
Yeah.
especially around the zippers. But
Yeah.
I would say, like, I'm with you. Like, I was really anxious about, I like camping in small group situations, but not with hundreds
Yeah.
of others. And I'm a light sleeper.
Yeah.
So if you're like that, you might want sleeping pills, earplugs, an eye
Oh.
mask, all of it. Yeah.
I'm on them.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And don't be shy even to camp far away from everyone else. You'll see other people doing that too.
Oh, yeah.
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 But there will be, people at the expo to help you set up a tent. You know, all tents are different, but generally the poles kind of are the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah, and also part two is the packing and bringing that stuff back with you with your personal belongings. So that's all the logistics of packing.
Yeah. And to that point, bringing, it's not recommended to carry your belongings to packing day in an airplane luggage, because whatever luggage or backpack or duffel bag you bring has to go in those bins and go
Right.
with you to Montreal. So we always suggest, like, people will have those large like hockey bags, I guess, because they can roll up quite small. I use like an Uber delivery backpack. That helps because then I can just keep my stuff in the backpack and I throw that in the bin.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like, you're right. Like, once you are finished and you're in Montreal, you're with your stuff now, and that's a bit of a pain. But you'll be with everybody else doing it.
Peter, are you going to be at the expo on Sunday?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, you can tell me all about the Uber backpack.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Anybody else have any questions?
Maybe no.
Peter, any closing notes from you?
Just like you only get your first year once. And a lot of people come back for a year or two or another year. So Abby and I have both been in our first year before, like the kind of feelings of apprehension and nerves about all of it. You know, can I ride that many days in a row? And can I fundraise this? Everyone finishes the rally. You know, it happens. And people are from the age range of like 16 to 81 and fitness levels of all over the place, different training amounts. But that being said, if there ever is a time on the rally where you just don't feel like riding, whether it's an injury or anything at all, you can tell someone on crew. There's no explanation needed. Like, in fact, we have our policy, no questions asked. If you want to be driven to either the lunch or the whole day, that's fine. You know, so you're supported in that way as well. If you feel like you can't do a day or it's anything like that.
Can I throw in a tidbit from my years on that bike rally? I was counting my jerseys before the session started today because
Yeah.
I can't figure out how else to tell how many I've done. I found it 2013, but Michelle, we're just riding our bikes is kind of one of the things that I remember I was told my first year. I mean, I just think it was Lucinda Wallace. And at the first day when we were riding just to lunch, from the starting point to lunch, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, I'm riding Montreal. What the fuck am I doing? Like, what? And sort of the beauty of cycling is you go through those moments of like complete, like, why the fuck am I doing this? To just utter bliss and often in one ride. But she said, this isn't complicated. I mean, you can wear the same thing every day. People help. Like there's a sense of a community on this ride, like none other. Is you need a banana and suddenly somebody's handing you a banana and an apple. You don't need to think about where you're going. You need to pay attention. You need to be safe. But everybody really does, whether it's 350 or 200, I think there was 100 on one ride. Everybody's got each other's back. We're a traveling community, and really, we're just kind of riding our bike every day. And she said, "You're not riding to Montreal today. You're just riding to lunch. And then after lunch, you're just going to ride to bed. You're going to ride to dinner. And then you're going to fall asleep. And it's going to be weird with other people, so don't snore or have sex or whatever. But everyone's tired. Everyone wants everyone to have a great ride and a great experience. And I'll be there on Sunday too if you have any questions or if I can help you with anything. But yeah, we're really just I don't want to minimize anybody's contribution or the good that it does or the event. But there are moments of the ride where you just like, I'm just riding my bike. Like that's kind of what it feels like. Thanks to all the people that were in your deck, Peter. So I don't know if that's any consolation, but certainly the training rides will give you a very good sense of sort of what you need in particular that maybe not everybody else does, or things that you didn't think of. And there's going to be tons of opportunity to find out who has an extra tent so you don't need to buy one that you're only going to use for 6.
Right.
That's my 2 cents, 3 cents maybe.
But it is really sense. I like how you kind of broke down. You really just ride for that portion of the day and then you get on and do it again. And there is this something about being in that community around other people doing the same thing that gives you those endorphins or energy, I guess, that carries you forward. So it's more remarkable in that way.
Or just don't arrive at camp first every night, because if you arrive at the appropriate time, someone else will have brought your bin and set up your tent, or at least very much unfolded a chair for you to sit in. Never get there first, because then you have to get the bins.
Yeah.
That's my piece of advice. Yeah.
Well, great. I mean, if there's any other questions, I'm happy to stay on. But if we're good, then I hope to see more of you at the expo on Sunday. And if not, there is a kickoff social event in Toronto, I think the week after. It's on the calendar. I can't remember.
Great. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. I'm so excited to meet y'all.
Thanks very much, Peter. Thank you, everyone. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
See you
thank you.
guys.